Today on Locked On Canadiens, we might have had this whole 2C or not 2C thing wrong from the start. It looks like Montreal's aiming for a big fish.
You are Locked On Canadiens, your daily podcast on the Montreal Canadiens. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into another episode of Locked On Canadiens. Thank you for making us your first listen of the day and for subscribing wherever you get your podcast doing. That supports us here on the show and ensures you do not miss an episode, and it helps us maintain our status as the number one sports podcast network here at Locked On. We are your team every day. My name is Ian Boisvert, also known as @Maybe It's Ian, and I'm joined as I always am by Laura Saba, also known as the Active Stick. Laura, I gotta do it right away. We're putting the hat on.
It's the Rumour Roundup. It's a big one.
The Rumour Roundup hat is on. For those who aren't watching on YouTube, think of a cowboy hat that's like just too small, and that's
like
what I'm
half
wearing.
A size too small.
It's just enough where it's kind of unsettling, to be honest. Anyway, we have a rumor. We have to unpack this. So we'll start with our Rumour Roundup. If you're looking at the right rail here, you see Tage Thompson is what we're talking about. It's not quite big hat territory yet. I'll talk about that soon. I want to talk about the Olympics. Pierre LeBrun dropped a nugget that Cole Caulfield's probably not going to make Team USA. We'll talk about that and the rest of the Canadiens hopefuls. And then speaking of Olympic hopefuls, Nick Suzuki's dealing with something. We don't know what. And we're going to get our feelings about how scared we are or how not scared we are about what that means for the future of the Montreal Canadiens. But let's start with Rumour Roundup. This is going to be a full segment Rumour Roundup. This is the only thing we are focusing on in this segment. Marco D'Amico at RG wrote a blog today saying that teams are calling the Buffalo Sabres on Tage Thompson, including the Montreal Canadiens. They were told, and I quote, according to a well-placed source, Adams' response has been consistent, not available at this time. Laura, that wasn't no.
I think we should look at Tage Thompson right now as somebody who wants to not be in Buffalo.
Yeah.
I personally, that's what I'm reading. Again, I haven't watched too many Buffalo Sabres games, but that's what I'm reading into this. I remember when I first said that, maybe the Canadiens don't need Tage Thompson, a bunch of people got really upset with me because the reality is that he would be great on this team, right? He would be fantastic. Yeah. But I think, and as you alluded to, in our intro, I don't know necessarily that it's that part of it that we're focused on. It's the fact that the Montreal Canadiens have called. The Montreal Canadiens are not settling. They're not settling for whatever center's available. The Montreal Canadiens are going out to land a big one.
Yeah, and that goes hand in hand with what I believe Elliot Friedman had said earlier last week, that the Canadiens they're going to throw whatever they can to get the best center available. And right now there are none. I know people are like, Nazem Kadri, he's not available. The Flames have made it known that the Flames owner came out and said, I don't want to trade Nazem Kadri. I don't know what else to tell you, that the guy's just not available, man. Buffalo, it wasn't a no. It was not available at this time. And it's quite easy to look at the Buffalo Sabres and think that a time may be coming soon. They are the third worst team in the National Hockey League. The only teams worse are Nashville and Calgary. And they're dealing with a ton of injuries right now. Josh Norris is on IR. Jason Zucker as well. Justin Danforth. Zach Benson, who's a great young player for them. Yuri Kulich, who's a strong player for them. And Rasmus Dahlin is away on leave. Not clear what's going on there. Of course, we hope the best for him. He had a really scary incident over the summer. So hope things are going well there. But with regards to the Buffalo Sabres, there's a lot of evidence to believe that this is not going to get better for that hockey team. And at what point do they decide, we're done. We're throwing it away. There's not a point to holding on to this core. First of all, if you're the Buffalo Sabres, do you let Kevin Adams do this?
No.
I don't either, which is part of the reason why I'm like, I don't really think so. But not available at this time is hilarious.
I think they're not available at this time means two things. Not available at this time means pitch me, right?
Sure.
Get your sales decks ready. I'm picturing a boardroom with a slideshow and
Kent Hughes has a clicker and he's like, and if you see here, you'll get David Reinbacher. And it's a joke. I don't know what they're giving up.
So I think that like that means that's one of the possibilities, and not available at this time just means that we still think that there's a shot that we're not going to like have a lost season again. I think Buffalo's like best hope right now is to try to be in the mix. I don't think that um, I don't think that they're going to recover enough from this, given who else is in the division, given who else is underperforming right now, expected to perform better. I just think that the Buffalo Sabres right now should be looking at McKenna, right? That's what they should be
Yeah,
looking at. I think they just
I
haven't
think
given
so.
up yet. Well, like we're not even in the middle of November. Technically, we're kind of there, but we're not fully in the middle of November yet, right? Like that's a couple of
Yeah.
days away. So I think the Buffalo Sabres want some more time to assess. Like maybe they think some of these guys are coming back. Maybe they think some changes can be made. But if I'm the Buffalo Sabres, I'm not letting this general manager make any major decisions.
No.
Fortunately, I don't know if they've learned anything. So
Yeah.
they've let this general manager make a ton of bad decisions so far and haven't fired him.
Yeah.
So like to me, like and again, this sucks for Sabres fans, but as Canadians fans, like the fact that the door isn't 100% closed, like even if you said there's like a 0.0001% chance that they would be willing to give up Tage Thompson, like I think if you're the Montreal Canadiens, you make that push, you go for it.
Yeah. I mean, look, like I pointed out, Buffalo's the worst team in the Eastern Conference. They're at the bottom of the standings. They're only technically 4 points out of a wild card spot. That's how kind of tightly packed the Eastern Conference is right now.
Yeah.
So in reality, a hot couple weeks and you're back. The problem is they don't got any players right now. Everybody's hurt or not playing
Yeah.
for them, like Rasmus Dahlin. Like this is going to be interesting to monitor.
Yeah.
I will say one of the interesting things I found about this, and it's something that we kind of knew to be true. The Vancouver Canucks were mentioned in this as well as a team that has inquired about Tage Thompson. They are a team that whatever center is available, Montreal is going to have to outbid.
Yes.
They're going to have to, ante up with a team like Vancouver. Unless it's like a Dobson situation where a guy has a no trade clause and he only wants to go to one of those places and it's not Vancouver, that would be a different scenario. Are there any other? Another team I think of in that kind of conversation is Carolina. They're always looking to upgrade it forward. They're always looking for that elite top six forward. They're another team. So like, if a Thompson were to make it to the market, the price would be exorbitant. It's going to be very expensive. And part of that's because he's a great player. And the other part of that is because he's a great player on an impeccable contract. He's got, let's see, this year and 4 years left after this one at 7.142857, whatever. It's a shade over $7 million. And only a 5-team no trade clause. This is a killer contract.
Every time this comes up, I always think about how we laughed at this contract when it was first announced.
Absolutely.
And it might be one of the only good decisions the Buffalo Sabres have made in a while.
Yeah, it ended up being a value, which is great. It's just like, remember when Draisaitl signed his first big contract and everyone went, whoa, that's kind of nuts. And it turns out that was an incredibly smart thing to do.
Yeah.
I think at that number, you have cost control over a legit number one center in the National Hockey League for the next 5 years. I think if whatever return Buffalo gets is going to feel underwhelming to them, because this is just a killer player on a killer contract with really like no strings attached, right? Like it's not like he has a full no move clause. He's got a 5-team no trade clause. Like Buffalo can send him practically wherever they want. I'm sure all five of those teams are in Canada, and you'd have to hope that one of them
is not
either
Montreal.
It isn't Montreal or he would waive to come here.
Yeah.
So I mean, let's do our yeehaws, huh?
Yeah.
Excitement, like
$1 million,
fanfare, $1.5 billion. Like, I'm not at big hat just yet because this is just they asked and we're told not right now.
Yeah.
When we start getting some smoke here and we start cooking, big hat's coming out. So be ready for that.
Yeah. I also want to point out, I don't know who Marco D'Amico's sources are, but I know that they're all very well placed.
Yeah, I don't know either, and he keeps hitting. It's hard to be like, yeah, okay, let's see about that, and then the next day it's right, and it's like, okay, well, I guess what do I know?
Yeah.
Realism. How realistic do you find this trade rumor? The rumor being that the Montreal Canadiens called about Tage Thompson, and we're told not right now.
Oh, I think that's 100% true. Like I feel like they would not be doing their duty if they didn't call.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what Ken Hughes has to be doing right now.
Yeah.
Is calling on guys that might not be available right now, which is the answer that they got, but that maybe one day will be, and you have to be ready to pay that price. I'm sure the conversation was longer than the 5-word response that he got, but that's what they're dealing with right now. So we're going to stay glued to this. Hopefully we get some more meat out of this. I mean, hopefully Buffalo decides to rebuild, and there's a lot of meat to pick off those bones. So keep it locked here. We'll keep the rumors coming on Rumour Roundup. The hats will keep coming out, and hopefully we have we don't have a 2C or not 2C anymore. We have a 1C and 1C, and those are the lines for the Canadiens from now on. All right, we'll leave that there, and we come back. Pierre LeBrun dropped a nugget this week that if Team USA was picking their roster right now, Cole Caufield would not be on it. We're going to tell them how dumb they are in just a minute here on Locked On Canadiens. When I'm hydrated, everything just works better. My focus, energy, mood, even my skin. That's why I've been using Drip Drop. It's doctor-developed hydration that keeps me running at full power, no matter what my day looks like. Drip Drop isn't your average sports drink. It delivers 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of leading brands, using a science-backed formula trusted by medical professionals, firefighters, and over 90% of top college and pro teams. I like using it just as part of my daily routine at the end of a workday or middle of the workday when you get sort of that slump. I just mix one up. It helps break up the day, helps me feel more hydrated, feel more energized and sharp to get going through those days. And, over the years, of course, we've been told drink more water. Hydration has become a non-negotiable for me. Drip Drop helps me feel sharper, calmer, and honestly, just better. Right now, Drip Drop is offering podcast listeners 20% off your first order. Go to dripdrop.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNHL. That's dripdrop.com, promo code LOCKEDONNHL for $20, 20% off. Stock up now before the heat hits hard and keep your body and mind performing at their best with Drip Drop. All right, we are back, and we once again want to thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network. It's due to listeners like you, the everydayers who are coming in here and supporting us. We thank you, and we hope this can be a show for you. Right, that's why we're here. Look, we're going to keep tapping into this until they announce the rosters. The Olympics. It seems like both Canada and the U.S. are in positions where they are arguing, they're arguing with just elite talent, right? But it does feel kind of silly that potentially the second leading goal scorer in the National Hockey League won't get a call to the Olympics. That's what Pierre LeBrun insinuated this week. He said if the rosters were to be picked now, Cole Caulfield would not make Team USA. Should we just spend the next, 7 minutes telling them how stupid they are? I feel like this is just like a waste of such an incredible talent.
Yeah, I think so. Because the thing is, like, what does he do? He scores. He scores goals, right? And he's now proven that he's able to do them at like one of the top levels, right? Like he scored 37 goals last year. That's not nothing. That's, and you look at like him being like either tied for the leading scorer or the second leading scorer or whatever. Like, if you need goal, like how do you beat another team in the Olympics? You need goals, right? This is international hockey, right? And so for me, it's like you're just leaving talent on the table, because if you look at the forward group, like there aren't people who can score at his level. They might be larger. And I think that's, Olympic teams love to do that. They love to get like big guys, big tough guys.
Yeah.
And personally, I just think that you're leaving a weapon at home. I don't care personally because I cheer for Team Canada.
As do I.
As a Montreal Canadiens fan, like Cole Caulfield getting some rest before a push for the playoffs, for, 2 weeks or 3, it's a little bit over 2 weeks, right? Cole Caulfield getting to relax and rest and like recover from like all the work that he's currently doing, which is like carrying a lot of the team on his back some nights or some periods. I personally don't care. I think that's great. I think that Team USA should take as many lumbering large people who can't score as possible. That's fine, right? Try to beat people with physicality when everyone else is skating circles around you, right? That to me is like the ideal scenario. And particularly in a year where Canadian goaltending is so weak, like just take goal scorers, take guys that can hit the back of the net.
Yeah. Hockey is a goal scoring contest. We have to remember this. That's the point of the sport, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of teams, not a lot of teams, Team USA and Team Canada are big braining this because this year, this Olympic run is on NHL-sized ice. No longer are they using the Olympic-sized ice, which is bigger and allows more freedom for players. They're using the standard NHL rink. And to use that as an argument against a player, they all play on NHL-sized rinks now, right? Like, it's not like Montreal has a bigger rink than anybody else. The thing I think I take the most issue with at this point, they're treating him like he's a perimeter player who is unable to take contact. Are you watching where he's scoring these goals? He's going to the front of the net and stuffing it. Like, he's going to the areas that are difficult to get to and, oftentimes unscathed. That's a talent in and of itself, is getting to those areas with the puck without getting popped. Cole Caulfield is really good at losing himself in space, getting to a spot where, not so much on the rush. The rush, he's very much, I'm just going to go to the net. But on cycle plays and on opportunities where the Canadians are cycling the puck in the offensive zone, watch Cole Caulfield. He's going to get lost somewhere, and it's up to Slafkovsky and Suzuki to find him. So I find the sort of broader assessment of him by USA, or what is alleged anyway, to be just kind of short-sighted. And it's a program that makes a lot of these short-sighted decisions constantly. The biggest example to me being taking Justin Abdelkader in the 2016 World Cup instead of Phil Kessel. One of the dumbest things they've ever done in my lifetime. And then Phil Kessel dunking on them from home. I hate the people that are in charge of these teams, man. I really do. I think that
it's old school hockey mentality.
I think they're hacks. I'll be honest with you. Like, I just think these guys just don't like. Doug Armstrong's Blues look great right now, don't they? Nah, they suck. They're bad. Like, these guys get propped up by being able to build super rosters. And then, like, it comes down to a goal and they go, we picked the best team possible. No, you didn't. Like, I get frustrated with this. These guys are hacks. I can't stand it.
Yeah. I agree with you. Like, I think that, like, if they were to make up the team today, then Cole Caulfield wouldn't be on it. Like, they're not ruling it out entirely, but how are you looking at his current stats? Like, I would say it's more likely for them to put him on the list now because of how much he's scoring, and then be like, later on when it's closer, be like, okay, well, that died off. So, like, no, he's not hot anymore. Right? Maybe,
but like, I don't know. Is Austin Matthews having a great year? I believe he's got 9 goals.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to need goals, man. They're not going to be able to just rely on Matthews, because I don't know if anyone's followed what's happening in Toronto, but they are having a hard time getting Matthews going based on what line mates they give him. That's shocking for a player who's supposed to be automatic for 40, that we can't find the right line. Sidney Crosby figured it out with Chris Kunitz. You can figure it out, dude. Matias Maccelli should be fine. I don't know what his deal is in Toronto. I do also want to say that there's some thoughts that Noah Dobson is being looked over for Team Canada in favor of Matthew Schaefer. That was something I'd seen floating around, and I just want to be like, what's going on? Do we live in like the bizarro world? I don't get. They seem to have like shiny new toy syndrome for like some things, but not others. I find the whole exercise to be a waste of time.
And like, listen, like, it's not that I think that Noah Dobson's a lock. I just think that that's a weird comparison.
Super weird.
That's the weird trade-off, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we're Suzuki's obviously going for the Olympics. We're hoping he makes it. Some of us are hoping he doesn't make it so that he rests. I think that's going to come down to our third segment here. Nick Suzuki's dealing with something. We don't know what, and we'll talk about why that worries us or doesn't worry us in just a second when we come back on Locked On Canadiens. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team is making that late push or trying to come back in the fourth quarter. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right. Nick Suzuki did not attend practice today. This was not an optional morning skate. This was a full-fledged practice. He wasn't there. He's made one optional morning skate since blocking that Travis Konechny shot in, I believe, at the end of regulation. Maybe it was in overtime against the Philadelphia Flyers. Does he look off in the games, do you think?
No, he looks fine in the games. That's the problem. The last game was the only one where I didn't like his play against the LA Kings. And
whose play
I didn't
did we like?
Exactly. we didn't like anyone in that game, right? He doesn't seem to have lost a step during the games. And it'll be something important to watch out for against Dallas tonight. I think that he's pushing through something. It doesn't concern me that he's doing that. It concerns me that he's doing that so early in the year.
Yeah, I tend to take, I actually have an alternative approach to that, which is that if it was something he could do more damage to, I don't think they would have him pushing through that in November. I think it's like a bruise. I think he's got like a bone bruise or something, and it's painful. And why put him through that pain for an optional morning skate or for practice when he doesn't really need it? Like I kind of, that's where and I'm not a doctor. Don't
Yeah, we should have prefaced the segment by saying we're not medical professionals.
Yeah, this show is not medical advice. Ask a doctor if whatever I just said is right for you. Like I don't have to say that. But I tend to think like, he's playing through it. He said something to the effect of, it's something that everybody else would play through. Like it's not something that but first of all, for him to say that and not say, oh, it's nothing, that means it's something. Like there's something going on. For him to not come out and say, no, I'm fine. Yeah. That's kind of an admission in and of itself.
He does this every year, though, multiple times a year. This is the thing. Yeah. Like, this is a Nick Suzuki thing. I know he's going after that Ironman streak. I don't care. I want him to be healthy.
Nick Suzuki admittedly also said he doesn't care about the Ironman streak. I think he's lying, and that's fine. Lying. He's allowed to lie. I'm not allowed to tell him, don't lie to me. I think he does care about the team's success more than anything. But I also think that Ironman streak does matter to him, right? Like he wouldn't have played through a lot of the stuff that he's played through if it didn't matter.
Yeah, I agree. And like we said, he does this a lot. He does this all the time, right? Like I remember we got a mailbag question and it was like, how does Nick Suzuki do it? And then you were like, he's playing through stuff all the time. Like he plays
all the time. Right? All of these guys are, right? Like no one's 100% healthy every game.
No, absolutely not. But I think the big difference is like, you just said he wants what's best for the team. So like if it came down to it that he was actively harming the team by playing, I think he wouldn't play.
Right.
I do think like he might try but you're not going to get away with dressing for that game and then people being like, why isn't Marty playing him X number of minutes or whatever, right?
Right, exactly. So, that would be concern that we're watching happen live, and I think that's a lot scarier.
Yeah, exactly. So like for me, like he's just like, I think it's okay for him to take it easy if it's something that like, quote unquote, everyone plays through. I think that he's very, very concerned about what Team Canada thinks. And like, I love that. Like all of these guys want to play for their country. All of these guys want to play in tournaments like that. Right. And there's no guarantee that Team Canada is going to take him, but cause he didn't go to Worlds.
Didn't go to Worlds.
He didn't go to Worlds. One time, he was like busy getting engaged, and then like, one time.
And then last year he didn't go because he was actually hurt. And if you remember, he didn't go to Worlds because he said, I'm going to let my team make that decision for me. If they're comfortable with me going, I'll go. And then he didn't go, which tells you the Canadiens said, nah, you're not going. Rest up. We need you next year.
Yeah. So, like, but they're like the thing is, like, again, like these teams like Galaxy bring this stuff and like it drives me crazy. But like, I know what he wants. Like, he really wants to be there. He wants to go there. And personally, I think that if he does go there as one of the defensive forwards, like, he would be incredible, right? Like, he would be like magnificent for Team Canada's depth. Like, and I'm not biased. I'm not. He is literally on one of the best lines of the league. Like, you look at him, he's over a point per game right now and playing through something, and he's over a point per game, right? So he does have a legitimate shot. Like, I will obviously be upset with Team Canada if they don't take him. Unless, whoever they take, like, is a compelling argument against Nick Suzuki. But I feel like if that wasn't looming, he would still be playing.
Yeah, I think so. I also love the concept of Nick Suzuki, fourth line shutdown penalty killing center for the Olympics. I think that's so funny for Team Canada to be able to roll that out.
Well, they're going to need that because they don't have goaltending.
Well, that and the fact that, like, a lot of the top line centers across the league aren't those guys, right? Like, Mark Scheifele's not that guy. Nathan McKinnon's great. He's not that guy. Connor McDavid's not that guy.
Like, those guys have different assignments,
different roles. They get to go play run and gun offense at the Olympics. Like, that is what they should be doing. You shouldn't be like, Connor, we need you to go out there and win a face-off for us and shut down in the third period. That's lame. Nobody wants to see him do that. I do really love that idea. The last question I have on this, Laura, should the unfortunate come to pass and he needs to sit a game or two, who's the first line center?
I wish you hadn't asked me that. My mind,
scenario planning here.
Okay, my mind. The first thing that my mind went to was like put Oliver Kapanen in there.
Thank you. Because I went Kirby Dach, and then I was like, I think Kapanen would be really fun in that spot.
Yeah, I think, like, you kind of, like, politics wise, you have to give it to Kirby Dach, but like, I feel like Oliver Kapanen, like, for a few games, a game or two, like, would be incredible there.
Yeah, I really love that idea. I think he just does, like we've said on the show a bunch, like, he does all the little things well. He doesn't have a part of his game that you're like, wow, that really pops. That's kind of like Nick Suzuki, is it not? Like, he doesn't have one elite talent that you go, man, that's what separates him from every other center in this league. It's just that he's so great at everything.
Yeah.
I think that Kapanen can play that for a short term. I'm not saying, well, Kapanen's our new first line center, so don't radio me on that. Mm-hmm. I think it could work for a time. I also really do like the idea of Kirby Dach getting that shot, playing with some legitimate offensive firepower, especially considering the offense he's put up this last week, playing with Brendan Gallagher, who obviously is, whatever line he plays on is great. And Zachary Bolduc, who I will say, Marty said, I need to give him more ice time. And Zachary Bolduc rewarded him by playing some of the worst hockey he's ever played. So I think, like, getting Dach into a more offensive situation would be fun.
Yes.
The power play, putting him on the power play would be cool, right?
I also think with Zachary Bolduc, like, I don't think it's the ice time. I think it's the assignment. And I think it's also the expectation, right? Like, the preseason was great. He came out of the gate really great. At the end of the day, like, this is still a player that we expected them to play in the bottom six, not the top six.
Right. Yeah. I mean, look, with Bolduc, like, if he is new Heineman, great. That's really all they can want. Yeah. Honestly.
And they got him for
a valuable
steal.
Player.
Honestly, they got him for a steal. Like,
yeah. Go look at Logan Mayhew's NHL numbers if you haven't. Some of the worst I've seen. Like, we Scott and our group chat would be like, the Blues have played 10 minutes and Logan Mayhew's already a -3. Like, it's bad. I know the whole team is bad, but we're seeing sort of the same deal that we saw from him last year. It doesn't seem like there's a ton of development there. So either way, Montreal comes out on top. We got to love that. All right, let's leave that there. Let's hit our trivia and then head out of here. Before we hit our trivia, quick plug. Tomorrow we are recording our mailbag. So as you are listening to this, send in your questions, lockedoncanadiens@gmail.com. Send it to us on TikTok, Bluesky, Instagram, any of those places. We try to pull them all together and answer them here on the show. Friday shows are my favorite. I love the mailbag. So we'll cover the Dallas Stars game and then we will get into the mailbag. All right. Yesterday's trivia question, I should say. Anze Kopitar's first game in Montreal is a much better memory for the Habs than his last one. On January 31st, 2009, Montreal trailed the Kings 3-2 to start the third period, but they came back and they won it in regulation. Which two Montreal Canadiens scored in the third period to complete the comeback for the Habs? Who was it, Laura? Do you have the answer?
This question hit me right where I live. It's Saku Koivu and Chris Higgins.
Yes, the tying goal was Chris Higgins, and Saku Koivu scored a power play goal with 23 seconds left. Go find it on YouTube and watch it. The Kings, someone on the Kings, I don't remember who it was. It was back when they were wearing the purple jerseys. Someone on the Kings, there's a face, the goalie for Montreal has covered the puck in his zone, and somebody on the Kings just comes in and bowls somebody over, and they immediately give him a penalty. And Montreal scores. They're scrambling around the net. They jam it in, and the Kings are the angriest I have ever seen a hockey team before. There's a player in the ref's face pointing at him. It's brutal. Go check it out. It's a great memory for me. Manny, Super Rain, Mark Couturier, Good Sport, Garrett S., and Kyle Roberts have the answer correct for us on that one. So thank you for playing. All right. As you're listening to this, today is the Guy Carbonneau Bowl, the Guy Car Bowl, maybe. I don't know. Playing for the Dallas Stars, Guy Carbonneau would score his final point in Montreal on December 1st, 1999. It was an assist on this future Hall of Famer's goal. Who scored the goal that gave Guy Carbonneau his last point in Montreal? Now, he was a Dallas Star. I'm talking physically. He was in Montreal. He was at then called the Molson Center. He was in Montreal. He assisted on a goal. Who scored that goal for the Dallas Stars? If you have the answer, put it in the comments down below this video. Let us know any way you know how, and we'll shout you out on the next episode of the show. And that is going to do it for us today on this episode of Locked On Canadiens. Thank you for listening and for subscribing and for making us your first listen of the day and for making us the #1 sports podcast network. I really love saying that. It's cool to be a part of something that's #1. You can, for your next listen, go check out the Locked On NHL podcast. Locked On NHL Game Night is a must listen. They're breaking down the scores of every game from every night. Go check it out. Each local show chips in with their analysis. So it's definitely worth checking out. Subscribe to Locked On NHL anywhere you get your podcasts. You can find me at Maybe It's Ian. You can find Laura at The Active Stick. Thanks so much for listening. See you tomorrow with the mailbag. Remember to send in your questions. We'll see you after the Stars game.